My wife slept with somebody else today. I caught her today.
Oh my God, Peter.
Sweetest.
I thought you were going to be writing jokes at the library.
What are you doing? What? Who is this?
Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy.
Go write some jokes.
I've literally never done anything without her. I have a plan. I'll be a comedian.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Take these flyers, and if you get 5 paying customers, we'll put you on stage.
Got a great live comedy show. I've been working on this corner.
Walk away.
God! Somebody trying to shake me from my corner.
Ah! Why are you talking like you in The Wire?
I haven't seen The Wire.
What?
There's no good way to tell people you haven't seen The Wire. I'm going through a divorce. I'm kind of floating around.
You can crash in my place.
There's laundry downstairs. You're gonna want to do that right away.
Don't sleep on that pillow. Don't put your face in this pillow. Bad stuff happens in this pillow.
Hey, good morning, little fella. Get on up here.
Get over here, man.
You want me to come on your podcast? I did everything I was supposed to. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't have sex.
Oh my God, I missed dry humping.
Me too. I missed the 3rd grade.
Is this the low or is this the high?
I want to experience new things. You were blocked. I was trying to free you.
Just let it go.
Let's do it!
I'm doing okay, actually.
Without the low, there ain't a...
Look at us, standing on the corner, eating street food. We're gonna do a set tonight at a club in Manhattan. Following the dream, we're grinding it out. I'm happy to be with you guys.
What's wrong with you?
Tony Tone Show. What you just heard was the trailer for the brand new show Crashing, which premieres officially this Sunday night at 9:30 Central for us on HBO. And one of the stars of that, the very funny Artie Lange, is on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline. Yo, Artie!
Hey.
Artie Lange, what's up, buddy?
Good, how are you, man?
Man, I'm so good. I have to tell you, before we get down to the business of promoting stuff, I've personally been a fan of yours for a while, and it's a shame that I'm on terrestrial radio and I can't describe the bit from It's the Whiskey Talkin'. One of the funniest things that anyone's ever said that I've seen as far as stand-up is you describing playing basketball maybe in New York, and it's like
right, yeah.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
A lot of people call that the greatest bit they ever saw. They give me a crazy comment. They go, "You're not the greatest comic by far, but that's the greatest bit we've ever." Yeah, true story. True story up until I say the word.
Right.
Yeah.
I figured that was probably the case. Oh man.
Yeah.
So, and you're also the guy that you know how this is with having to wake up early. I don't get to watch a lot of late night TV, but it's like appointment viewing when you popped up on Fallon or when you'd be with Letterman. And I just wonder, I haven't had the experience, obviously, on being on a show like that, but how much of it anymore, and maybe Letterman was more so this way, do you get to be yourself? Because there's a lot of, like, pre-interviewing that goes on, I'm assuming, right?
Right, yeah, well, listen, it's very perceptive because, a lot of people don't know how that works. As a segment producer, comics get the worst end of that. I have to pitch 7 stories before they go, oh, that's good, and really, really work hard in the pre-interview. And then hopefully, if the first bit goes well and I get the crowd, I can do whatever I want. That's what I go for with that, Like there was one Letterman where I wanted to repeat something that my uncle had told me that was one of the funniest things I ever heard. And the guy said, nah, Dave's going to be offended by that. I was going so well at the end of the interview, I said it. It got a big laugh, and Letterman said in the commercial, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. And it was something I would have cut if I listened to the segment producer. So, when you get more power, you do whatever you want. Like, Chris Rock does whatever he wants. It's good to get to that level.
So you have, obviously, you still have the bug for being on the air with the Artie Quitter podcast. Talk about that, because like I've been doing this for 10 years now, waking up early and trying to be entertaining and put a show together. But for you, was it the opportunity to be with Stern, or had you always been a fan of radio and now podcasting, or what?
Well, I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting when I was 19, and the reason I did that, like everything else in my life, was for all the wrong reasons. I had gotten arrested for attempted bank robbery, which is a long story. They realized I was kind of kidding, and it got knocked down to a disorderly conduct beef. And I had spent a few days in jail, so they gave me time served and 25 hours community service. And I had a probation officer, and the guy said, I was going from loser job to loser job, and I was gambling, and bad life at 19, and he said, you got to get an activity. Do something you could say to the judge, look, I'm doing something. So I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to do anything with this because I want to be a comedian. And that's how I got into radio, through comedy. I had always worshipped Stern, worshipped it. And I was 13 years old. My father came, who worked construction, basically, climbing roofs, and said, you got to come with me to work tomorrow because this guy's hilarious. My father turned me on to Howard at the age of 13. And I listened forever. Every great comedian I know, every great comic was affected by Howard and influenced. He's certainly my biggest influence. So that's how I got the radio, through comedy, and I got the biggest radio job ever on my first job, because I paid my dues in stand-up. And it was the greatest thing ever. I had discovered, as Jeff Ross puts with the roasts, like, you have one particular thing that you're good at. He called it his Yankee Stadium. Being on the radio in that capacity, especially behind Howard yelling out crazy stuff, in the background was my Yankee Stadium. I'm the best at that. My best, not the best, but I'm as good as I can be and funny as I can be is on the radio. And podcasting is the first time I've been totally uncensored, because even with Howard at Sirius, you could curse, but you're still working for a corporation, and, if Howard doesn't like something, it's bleeped. This podcast, Artie, it's the first time I've ever been just me, uncensored. It's a blast. It's as funny as I've ever been. And the fans of it are hardcore. It's the greatest thing ever.
It's artiequitter.com, $6.95 a month. It's fantastic. You can get a free 7-day trial. Artie, two of my cousins, so I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, and two of my cousins are probably listening, and they're huge fans of yours, and both of them sent me pretty good questions. Can I ask them on their behalf?
Go right ahead.
All right, so Nick says, ask Artie what the lifestyle change was like when he landed MADtv versus when he landed on the Stern Show.
Wow. That is a great question. No one's ever asked me that before, because it's like, people, thank you, Nick, but people think when you get on TV, you're a billionaire, And I have a lot of friends I went to high school with who, were doing 3 to 5 for something when I was getting MADtv at the age of 27. And when they got out, they came to California and figured I was living like Jerry Bruckheimer, and I wasn't. And they stole my TV. True story.
Oh my God!
So I went from. It's interesting. I went from making like 15 to 19 grand a year doing bad comedy gigs and driving a cab to making about 10 grand a week. So that was the initial sticker shock. Boom. Wow. So I'll let you make the decision. That's from going to where I can't pay the rent to where I can easily pay the rent and pay off all of my mother's bills and stuff like that. But then getting Howard. I was already a millionaire, self-made millionaire, by the time I got on Howard Stern. It took me 4 years to make $1 million net. I got on Howard, and I went from playing the Funny Bone in Pittsburgh to Carnegie Hall. Wow. Now that's when I became a celebrity or a bit of a rock star. People saw my face and knew the name, and that's where I went to, okay, now I never have to talk to the kids doing 3 to 5.
Right, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's such a jump. My cousin Joe says Seymour Cassel was Artie's co-star in Beer League. Seymour also nicknamed a famous guitar player Slash when he was a kid. Any other good stories about musicians that you'd want to share on the radio?
Well, so Seymour Cassel, unbelievable actor. He's so funny playing dirt in Beer League, and getting him was a blessing. And if you read, here's Seymour. If you read Ronnie Wood's book, after they came off tour for Tattoo You, the Stones, they were on tour for like 2 years. Supposedly, according to Ronnie Wood's book, him and Bobby Keys, the sax player for the Stones, locked themselves in Ronnie Wood's bathroom in the Hollywood Hills and smoked cocaine for 2 years. Now, that's what he says. Seymour Cassel lived right above them, and he knew they were paranoid. So to play a joke, he would put on like a scary mask and scare them in the bathroom. And Ron would call the police, thinking like a guy who looked like, Rasputin was trying to get in their house. And okay, now cut to Slash's book, who my co-author Anthony Bozick wrote. Slash has a similar story. Slash comes off the Appetite for Destruction tour for 2 years, moves in with Seymour Cassel, moves into Seymour's bathroom and smokes cocaine for 2 years. Now Seymour keeps scaring him in his own house. Seymour was the man, and Seymour, when he came on the set, told us some stories. I have a couple. I'm trying to think what I could possibly tell. All right. Keith Richards, okay, was a guy that I worshipped. When I was doing cocaine, and a lot of cocaine in New York City in the early 90s, I go into an after-hours club, and I'm in a bathroom in the after-hours club, and I'm doing coke in the stall, and I lift up my right shoulder to do coke off a key, and I hit something that is kind of soft, and I'm thinking, like, what the hell is that? I thought it was going to be the stall wall, and I'm like pushing through, like, what the hell is that? Like, it felt like a curtain or something, and it was Keith Richards' neck.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, what is that? It feels like cement or something. And I looked at him, and it's that face, and he's got a cigarette dangling out of his mouth, like the cover of Rolling Stone. He goes, "Can I get a hit, mate?"
Oh my gosh!
I said, yeah. And I did coke with Keith Richards for about 20 minutes in a stall.
Oh my
gosh. I was shaking. I dropped so much cocaine off that key that I was shaking with nerves, and I don't think he likes me because of that. I doubt he'd remember. But I couldn't get my elbow through his neck.
That's amazing. He's got the neck of steel, apparently. We have to promote Crashing, and it looks tremendous. So
that's a good segue.
Right. I'm sorry. I had to listen. I'm trying to go from coke with Keith Richards to what we got to promote, so they don't. I don't want to get yelled at. Listen, I don't want to get yelled at for not promoting the show. It looks to me, Artie, and I was listening to an interview that Judd did, and he said that Artie Lange surprised him the most with how good of an actor you were, and that it had been a while since you acted. So Crashing is Sunday night, 9:30 on HBO. Pete Holmes, his real life story of walking in on his wife with another guy and then attempting to do stand up, and he has succeeded after a while. Tell people why they should watch this show outside of the fact that it has so many familiar faces and it looks to be very funny.
Well, the reviews are all amazing, and it's the first time I've been in anything where reviews are this good. A movie people know me for the most, Dirty Work. A critic said that I had all the charm of a date rapist. That's a true story. And Norm Macdonald said, that's great. A date rapist has to have way more charm than a regular rapist. And that's how he cheered me up. But this is Judd Apatow at his finest, and that's saying a lot, because it's in a world that he loves so much professionally, and that's stand-up comedy, which... the guy's a billionaire or whatever from being the insanely successful producer he is. He didn't have to do this. He got back into stand-up and worked hard, and he's great. And, he's examining that world through Pete Holmes' eyes. Pete is he's got this charisma that you want to help him, and you can't be taught that. He's a real talented, smart guy, and me and him, definitely are polar opposites.
But it seems
I'm a guy you don't want to help.
Right.
But me and him clash, and it works great. It's just the world of stand-up at its finest with a lot of heart, and it's real funny, and it's a testament to Judd. It's his latest greatest thing, I think.
And it's so exciting that it's on HBO, isn't it? I mean, that's a really big deal. I mean, with everything
absolutely
streaming, Artie, that's to be on HBO and to have that audience. I think this is going to do extremely well, and I wouldn't be surprised if after the premiere you get the phone call for season 2, right? I mean, that's how it could work.
Well, Judd Apatow usually gets phone calls like that. I usually get phone calls where they're like, there's some people from the DEA want to talk to you.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'll go with Judd's phone calls for a while.
Oh, buddy. What else?
By the way, I think the most liberal person ever would be Ashley Judd Apatow.
ArtieQuitter.com, the podcast. You're on tour still doing stand-up. Is there anything left that you want to try? And I don't mean to say that like you're going to retire, but you know what I mean. Is there something that you have not experienced, Artie, that you would like to attempt professionally or personally?
Bath salts. No. Well, listen. I have been very lucky to have done for good or bad. I've done everything. I've done radio. I've done sketch comedy on TV. I did a sitcom on TV. I've had deals to do my own sitcom on TV. I've done movies in every capacity, from the lead to an extra to low budget to big budget. Books. I've written books, and of course, like I did a dinner theater play once.
Wow.
I've never done a Broadway play, and you know what? I think I got the chops for it. I may not be right, but I would love to play Oscar and the Odd Couple, like if they ever revived it on Broadway, something like that. I'd like to give that a shot.
That would be tremendous. I thought you were going to say Hamilton, but Oscar works out really well too. That's perfect.
Hamilton, since Hamilton's success, they're doing a lot of black-themed Broadway now. Like Phantom of the Opera is the obvious one they do, and then I'm going to do one called Rent is Late.
Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm so thrilled that you took the time to call me in the state of Iowa, and I feel like this was a long time coming personally and professionally. I'm a big fan. I got a lot of love for you, and I wish you nothing but continued success, and I know that crashing on Sunday night at 9:30 is going to be tremendous. Artie, thank you so much, buddy.
Crashing's the best thing I've done, except for something on It's the Whiskey Talking. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay.
You're welcome, buddy. Take care.
I love you.
Love you too. Bye.